This is JohnRemus.com TV offering a few ideas on the micro and the macro of politics. Because at the end of the day, whether it's family or actual large-scale political and leadership arrangements and larger dynamics of leaders and followers and people with money and those with not, and workers and people who come up with ideas, and how money plays into it all. But also semantics. The easy thing we can do is change our semantics. Sometimes it's harder to deal with money and understand that and invest it and save it. But what you can do right now is change the way you talk about things. So in family, instead of using the terms parent or father, son, uncle, nephew, grandfather, and so on and so forth, I prefer more specific terms, which I think a lot of people would rather use. Terms such as friend. Two adults, one doesn't need to be responsible for the other. The other doesn't need them to be an authority or leadership figure in their life. So guess what? They become friends, equals. And you might think that, I like the idea of having an uncle or father or mother, etc. But I think it feels better to be friends, equals. Then you can, because only when there's responsibility can there be freedom. Only when people are responsible for each other, then they can become actually free. When they're responsible for themselves, can they become free? So when you have financial stability that you've created, along with emotional stability, and you have your life in your hands, then you can freely and voluntarily choose to be friends and be nice to other people. And you're not doing it because you have to placate them or be nice to them in order to meet your basic needs or survive. So these family dynamics, what terms can we use? I remember one big one is friend, and another one is you can say that this is my male guardian or female guardian. It's a more specific term than father, uncle, grandfather, in that it suggests, I am. This person looks out for me. They're my guardian. Some people might not even be qualified to be a guardian because they're not themselves financially or otherwise poised to take on the responsibility of a guardian client, quote unquote. In other words, a boy or girl child. You can father or somebody, or you can have a legal biological family or kids, but are you actually prepared to play that role? See, what we're talking about is roles here, and how you name people. Semantics, right? The way to name another person is be specific, and the terms father, son, uncle, nephew, I feel are imprecise, and I like to be clear on what's going on. So for example, if you name somebody the role of father and you're an adult and you actually don't think of them as father, you're still programming your subconscious mind and suggesting to them, perhaps indirectly, that you still expect them to be responsible for you to a degree. And conversely, naming somebody son You might think it's nice, but really what you're saying is, I'm your authority and I am obligated to help you in life. And I don't think this is a place of power and independence and responsibility and freedom. And so we can transcend that, and a lot of, when you talk family and politics, there can be conflicts in there when you think there wouldn't be. And in order to transcend that, you need to have clarity. And so that's where we're going. We're going to make it possible for there to be peace. It only happens when you start peace in your own life and then broadcast it outwards. And so that's basically not wanting others to take care of your needs and quote unquote vote for you. Sometimes in politics, for example, that if you're electing someone and expecting them to figure things out and deal with local and global issues, then you're putting the responsibility on them, which could be you who's diplomatic in your everyday life, you who makes votes, not just in a formal electoral context, but votes with your actions and what you do every day. Being charitable as you can afford to, reaching out to somebody else in the world and being nice to them, just like you expect politicians to do. But at minimum, I expect politicians to be in a position to play that role. It's a role of responsibility, and you should have the affordability, you should be in a position to play it. And in order to do that, you've got to, I'd say, have at least 2 to 5 years where you can afford to volunteer public service, be in government, be in politics, and you are therefore won't be affected by bribes, and you can truly forget being socialist or capitalistic, Republican or Democratic, and it really, you're just an individual. You're an individual with views that maybe hint towards socialism or whatever. But to name yourself, I'm a conservative or I'm progressive, it's like all these terms are divisive, and they when you just like in family, when you say that, this person's my father, or this person's my pastor, or this is my religion, or this is my culture, or this is my country of origin, or this is my political party, then you're basically saying that somebody else who's the leadership of that country or religious group or even family, they're the person that's they're my leader. They're the person it's their fault if something happens. It's the government's fault. It's my parents' fault that I have a bad life. It's my boss's fault. All these generic terms like parents, boss, pastor, they all imply authority and responsibility when really you're deferring it to someone else. So take it on yourself. With this understanding and this position, you're going to feel great. You're going to feel like you're truly you, and you can't be free until you're taking care of your business and making for yourself a free place where you're not a burden on others. People get into these roles, of dominance and submissiveness. You see it in religion, pastor and child, or follower and savior, where the savior and the pastor are expected to know more about your life and fit your existential issues and take more responsibility to solve global problems, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work in a truly peaceful world. A truly peaceful world is full of intelligent, self-directed, independently minded people. And you might think, oh, you're stronger if you call each other family, and oh, they're my authority, or you're doing the right thing by being submissive. I don't know. Or you're doing the right thing by being dominant. See, the irony is people actually who believe in like certain religious concepts, they actually think that it's good to be submissive, or the concept of a kingdom, like this idea of a savior coming back and being a king, that it's actually a good idea, or it's a positive thing, but really it's not. It's what type of a good person would want to be another person's king or their authority or parent? It's just not a thing. That's all about having power over someone, when really, obviously there's exceptions in terms of as far as criminality goes, right? You want to take some more dominant offensive moves in order to deal with criminality, put people in prison, maybe execute them. But let's just aim towards democracy, okay? Where people can vote for different matters and get stuff done. And they can also think of themselves as, I make time to be responsible and, work more if needed. Sometimes, and maybe play whatever. But the point is responsibility, family, whether it's small level politics in family or community or in the world, what different leaders do. It's about responsibility. And part of that, of course, has to do with money. You can say that, oh, this person's rich, it's not fair, or I wish they'd give me money. But it feels good to earn your own money. It feels good to make your world, make your own way. So I encourage you to just revisit your semantics you use. And let's say, for example, you present this issue to, say, somebody who, being that you're an adult, you say to maybe your previous guardian, aka your legal biological blood relatives, aka your parents, aka your father, brother, etc. You tell them, I don't want to. And of course, there's the term the dream team. The dream team is an alternative term to naming someone brother, because it suggests you have similar dreams. Instead of why would you treat somebody as brother and sibling if you have different dreams and you don't even like them? It's like it's irrational. And so, more specific terminology, just like my term, the dream mate. So all of these ideas, we can apply them and we can make the world a great place. And that's what everything's all about. It's all about ideas. It's not about. That's the beginning of stuff. That's the beginning of inventions and how the world operates, and true inspiration. Because guess what? All you need is your mind. Maybe, like I'm doing, sharing ideas via web camera, $50 cell phone, $50 a month bill. No paper and pad, talking to people. It's a low budget operation. But yeah. Feel free to comment. More videos to come. Aloha. Okay, how to restart the stream.